Oops. Uh-oh. What was the point in the first place of bringing people out to public gatherings? You were showing your status because your wife wanted your children to know the polite life of an urban area. It was actually a way of sort of harmonizing everybody in society. It's something that the women tend to do. I've even heard this as from a number of sources. I actually found this kind of fascinating coming from, I think it was a Freemason was the way he put it. He goes, women civilize men. Now Thaddeus Russell would probably concur with this in his, historian's view of the way that the West Coast is once it got women. Well, now these fellas had a whole different stake going on. It wasn't just about getting some money out of the deal. Well, now there were some girls. They could have a family, and they could maybe get a house there in San Francisco, that kind of thing. So, say one of the things about culture that, so you guys know that I love buying old country music. I love buying old mountain music and banjo music, and so without having some respect for that, it's kind of, without having even a bit of love for it, it's hard to imagine how you really love American art in general. And really, I started to think about how people will think of Cowboy Bebop in a way that is kind of incorrect. Oh, it's this great anime, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's about how the writing and culture are dealt with. The fact that Cowboy Bebop made references to Led Zeppelin throughout the entire series, and then had some of the best banjo music. Yoko Kanno's fucking amazing when it comes to her banjo and country and old-time arrangements. That's real love for a culture. And a lot of people don't really get that. You could see that. And it's hard to explain. When you really love Americana, you do. When you don't, it comes across as phony. And, I was just thinking about that. Because, you guys know the music I collect and stuff, so it's I've just been thinking about, the references people make nowadays. They obviously don't know music other than about maybe 15 years old. Maybe 20 years old. 30 maybe years old. But they don't know about the Cultural Revolution of the 60s or what led up to that. And without that, you can't really have much of a revolution. I don't see how that would even be possible. All right, later.